Hello, Victor Nygren here. I am playing Total War 1942. It's a mod for Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion. It's set in World War II, as you can hear in the name. I am gonna play as Third Reich, and I will not fight the Soviet Union because I have a more recent version. As I joined the team, I don't have anything to provide for now. I am a coder of medieval Total War kingdoms, but Rome Total War is pretty similar, so I can do most things in Rome. However, there are some differences, and when it comes to the different files, I need to read up on tutorials in order to know what to do. But Dagovax and Salazar, the creators of this mod, they are doing well on their own. Salazar is the guy who created the map, and I believe he has also done a lot of other stuff on the campaign and such. And then Dagovax is the guy who is doing the models and animations and such. I'm not sure which one of them has made a UI and banners and flags. Anyway, I joined, but it seems like Dagovax can do most of the coding on his own, so he doesn't really need me for now. However, I still got access to this version of Total War 1942. I got a new version in October the 13th, and that version added new units to the faction of Italy and some new French units. Then in this version that I got yesterday, they added working planes, bombers and fighters, and also new units for most factions. But unfortunately the Soviet Union, or the USSR as they are also known, didn't get anti-air or planes. They don't have that, and that's why we won't use that faction, and instead the United States of America will be the enemy, because the United States and the Third Reich have the largest armies in this mod currently. Then we have Britain, Japan and Italy, and the two French factions, the Republic of France, French Republic, and Vichy France, French state Vichy. They have units, but even though all of them, with the exception of France, have planes, but they don't have that many infantry units and tanks, and the only factions that are close to finished are the Third Reich and the United States. The Soviet Union are also pretty big when it comes to their roster, but they don't have any anti-air units, so they aren't finished. They have probably all their infantry and all their tanks and all their other such units like artillery and rockets and etc. However, they do need planes, otherwise it would be unfair fighting against the other factions. Also, Dagovax has added lots of late tech tanks and artillery to all the factions, the main factions. So this means that Italy, for example, has good tanks and not just bad. Because in this mod you are supposed to change history, like you start in 1942 and then you can make your own choices in the campaign, and as such you may be able to develop those later tanks that never came, or that came but were seized by the Nazis because Italy changed sides. Mussolini were overthrown, and then Italy switched sides, and then the Nazis attacked and took the factories where the modern tanks were being developed, so they ended up in the hands of the Nazis. In this mod, they will end up in the hands of the Italians. So you have the potential of getting a strong Italy. However, the other smaller factions like Turkey and the United Nations and India, China, etc., they don't have any units currently. They only have the officer's car unit, which is the general. But hopefully they will get rosters soon. The Egovax has been pretty active. I just tried to film the AI fighting 3 times, but it crashed all 3 times. This was due to one of the planes, the fighters. They had projectiles that would cause a crash to desktop. They seem to work against other infantry and against other planes, but then when they face tanks it would CTD. So I solved that by replacing the projectile with bombs. So they have small bombs, and the real bombers have big bombs, and then the round projectiles that were bugged have been replaced. So now we can fight, but I don't want to let the AI fight now. I want to test to play myself. So we will get to it. I have never played against AI before. It's an easy difficulty because they may be strong anyway. So I didn't dare having them on a stronger setting. So let's see. All types of planes, of course. Can have 2 riflemen, 2 mortars. And the Americans, we get 1 for each first. We could also use 2 additional artillery units and 1 additional heavy tank. We have 2 planes and 1 anti-aircraft platform. Their Corsair unit will use the small bombs, but they are working like fighters because they have like armor piercing and hit points instead of area damage and like yeah, they have different attributes. So this is the bomber and this is the fighter, but both use the same projectile when it comes to its look. I believe the Boeing B-17 may use the big bomb and this one may use the small bomb. So pretty equal. So the units of the United States are armored officer's car. All the factions have this. This is the general. Then we have the T-29 heavy tank. And as you can see, the heavy tank T-29 is an American developmental heavy tank started in March 1944 to counter the appearance of the Tiger II at Normandy. And just for your information, there are no Tiger IIs or King Tigers in this mod. The Egovax used to include the mouse instead, which is an even heavier tank. But unfortunately for the Nazis, that tank didn't get to be in any battle. It was in a few factories when the Russians came, so they seized some of those tanks, but they never were used in actual battle. They arrived too late. And then we have the M5 howitzer artillery unit. 3-inch gun M5 was an anti-tank and developed in the United States during World War II. Alright. We have a mortar, a Stokes mortar. A mortar is usually a simple, lightweight, man-portable, muzzle-loaded 152mm weapon which blasts enemies away. Alright. We have artillery. the M53, M55. The M53, M55 is an American fully enclosed and armored self-propelled artillery. Yeah. Then we have the M4 Sherman, which was the most common medium tank in the US Army. The M4 Sherman, officially medium tank, yeah. M4 was the most widely used medium tank by the United States and Eastern Allies in World War II. And we have the Harley-Davidson XA motorcycle. This armored Harley-Davidson XA motorcycle uses a Browning machine gun. It wasn't used that much. T1 Cunningham. The T1 Cunningham was United States Army light tank. Was a United States Army light tank of the late 1920s and early 1930s. It was only built in prototype form, alright, so it was probably not used in the Second World War, but still, it's in the game, so it sucked probably. Anyway, the M53, M55, yeah, that's the same. I gave them 3 of those because the Nazis have 3 different artillery pieces. Then it's the T-29 heavy tank. If I haven't already, yeah, I have already read about it, but basically I don't think that tank was part in the war. It may have arrived too late. Then we have the Boeing B-17. Sorry for not being able to pronounce it correctly. It's a bomber. It uses big bombs, and then the Corsair is the fighter, but the projectile was bugged, so they are using small bombs for now. We have the anti-aircraft platform. They use their own projectiles, unique for that unit. And then we have grenadiers, unique for the United States currently. We have anti-tank units. I believe the Soviets have that too, but the Nazis do not have it, and most others don't have it either. So the United States has anti-tank infantry. The Nazis had it in the real history, but that was in the end of the war when they had no tanks, etc., and needed these weapons to defend themselves against the Soviets. Assault infantry, yeah, both factions have that. And then the ordinary riflemen, 2 units, and another mortar. Alright. The Nazis, or the Third Reich, they have the armored officers' car, of course. And then they have the Tiger 1. Tiger 1 was a German heavy tank of World War II. It was the one of the better tanks in their army during most of the war, but the King Tiger was obviously even better. Then they had a BMW motorcycle, and this was the motorcycle that inspired the Harley-Davidson in the United States Army. The German BMW motorcycle uses a MG42 machine gun. Yeah. Then they had the Panzer IV, which was a very common medium tank. Panzer IV was a German medium tank developed in the late 1930s and used extensively during the Second World War. It was the most common tank, but it had it was kind of weak against the T-34s of the Russians, so they had to develop something bigger, and that's where the Tiger 1 came, and that wasn't enough, so they made a King Tiger. And then obviously they needed something even bigger, so they made a Mouse, but it didn't see combat. Panzer I, that was their most sucky tank in the war, the one they had a lot of in the beginning. It wasn't very good at all. The Panzer I was a light tank produced in Germany in the 1930s. Yeah. Mouse, it was produced but never saw combat. Mouse was a German World War II super heavy tank completed in late 1944. Oh, it was completed in late 1944, but I haven't heard of it being used. Maybe they used some of them, I'm not sure. And they had a PaK-40 artillery. 7.5 centimeter PaK-40 Panzerabwehrkanone 40 was a German 75mm anti-tank gun developed in 1939 to 1941 by Rheinmetall and used during the Second World War. And they have a self-propelled gun called the Vesp. The Vesp is a German self-propelled gun developed and used during the Second World War. And they have the Stokes mortar here as well. Mortar is usually a simple, lightweight, man-portable, muzzle-loaded 152mm weapon which blasts enemies away. Same description as for the United States mortar. Then they have a Hummel artillery gun, self-propelled gun. The Hummel was a self-propelled gun based on the Geschutzwagen 3-4 chassis and armed with a 50cm howitzer. Alright, and this was, didn't mention how big the howitzer was. And then they had the Give Tiger. The Geschutzwagen Tiger was a German self-propelled gun of World War II that never saw service. Yeah, it's one of the later guns that never were used. Then they had the Messerschmitt fighter plane using small bombs because the other projectile didn't work. The EU-88 or U-88 is a twin-engine multi-role combat aircraft. The description: the Junkers U-88 was a German World War II Luftwaffe twin-engine multi-role combat aircraft. Should work as both bomber and fighter, but in Rome you can't have both in one unit, so it's a bomber. It uses big bombs, and then we have the Stuka using smaller bombs, so we have two units using small bombs, but probably the Messerschmitt will get a different projectile later. And the reason they didn't keep the round projectile that they used previously is because it didn't work in the game. So Dagovax will either have to fix that or implement something new. But even if it's using the same projectile as the Stuka, it doesn't mean they are the same. It has different stats and different effects and attributes. I believe there are bigger collisions and like explosions and damage done when the Stukas use it than when the Messerschmitt is doing the same. Then we have the Waffen-SS Elite Infantry unit, we have the Scout snipers, we have the Assault Infantry, and we have two riflemen and another mortar. This is the first battle I will play, multiplayer battle, where I used tanks and infantry and artillery, but they didn't, I don't think they had artillery when I think about it. They had the weakest artillery, but not the self-propelled guns. This is the first where they have basically everything. Look at this army. I have huge settings because I enjoy seeing large armies. Especially when it's World War II, you want to have like many tanks. This is the Tiger 1. Pretty cool. This is the BMW motorcycles with their automatic machine guns. Here we have some mortars with infantry, riflemen infantry. We have some smaller units here of assault infantry. They have better weapons than the riflemen. And then we have the snipers, which have a very long range even in this game, and the SS Elite Troop, which is pretty cool. They use pistols in close range or automatic weapons in long range. Then we have the Mouse, of course, the biggest of their tanks, really cool, but I think it is too white. doesn't fit the terrain. Probably was more of a yellow tank in real life, yellow or brown yellow or something like that. I believe it was, because I saw pictures in color of it. And we have the planes, of course, circling around, like the Stukas, the EU-88 or whatever, and the Messerschmitts. I would really want that Messerschmitt 262, ME-262, Messerschmitt ME-262. It was a jet fighter with a 12-to-1 ratio against Allied planes. 50 of those jets took out over 700 Allied planes, but they only had like 50, the Nazis, and the Allied planes were over 7,000. So in the end, the Allies won, even though the Nazis took out 700 with only 50 planes, which shows that jet fighters were very superior. They also were both bombers and fighters, but that is not possible in this game engine, Rome Total War. I don't even think it's possible to have jets, because that would require animations that will make them faster than these planes, and it would be very hard to make them 12 times as strong as those planes. Here are the officer car with the officers and generals and stuff. And we have the artillery. They only one per artillery, like the Vesp or the Hammer. And the bigger one that never saw combat in real life, the GV Tiger. That's the army. So probably want to divide them into groups. So I will probably group them and lose formation and place them closer. And then sniper could of course be part of a different, it could be its own unit. I don't think it needs to be that close. We will place the other infantry in a line again. Tanks and everything. And we place the mortars in one group. Place them like that, maybe. And then we can place these artillery pieces along the entire front. There's some problem placing. Planes. So, and tanks. Motorcycles shouldn't be part of that group. The tanks could be their own group too. Skirmish mode, is it? Formation button still. Run line. Oh no, I see, there they are. Let's place this here. start and look at the other army, the US army. Some artillery pieces here. You can't see the names because they are too far away from our troops. Here are their mortar, the Stokes mortar. Their medium tank, the M4 Sherman. The most common tank of the Allies. Their better tank here. Their superior tanks. Probably never saw combat or saw combat in the late war. Then we have some infantry. We have more artillery, like self-propelled artillery and ordinary artillery. Their version of the officer cars, their officers. The very old World War I tank, or 1930s tank. More of these greater tanks. They are not as good as the Mouse, but they are on equal level with the King Tiger, so they are better than the Tiger 1. So that's their army. Now it's time to order our troops, but we can look at their planes too. Here are the Corsairs, the fighters. And then they have some big bombers too. I'm not sure where they are. Should be here. There they are. A bigger plane. I should have had my army be the defensive army. It's easier to defend. Anyway, let's order our troops to attack them. It's a shame we can't see who they are. I guess these are riflemen. So we just order our riflemen to attack their riflemen. That's no problem. And our automatic assault infantry to attack their assault infantry. Probably that unit. The Waffen-SS elite against their grenadiers. So now it's the mortars against their mortars. They have another one too. We need to find it and attack it as well. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Kinda hard to see in the Ardennes forest. This is the Ardennes battlefield. Maybe this is... no, it isn't. So, have a mortar here, but we have already clicked that one. Alright. It'll take a while to find the units. Here it is. Good. Attack that one with the second mortar. Then our Panzer 1, the most sucky tank, will face their most sucky tank. Our Panzer 4 will face their Sherman tanks, unless they have another one of those sucky tanks. Yeah, we let them face the Sherman. Tiger 1 can face their first version of the bigger tanks. They have two bigger and two one medium, one light, and two heavy. Or two heavies will face their two heavies. So our scout snipers, I think they will attack this unit here. Probably their version of snipers or something. And the motorcycle will face theirs. Motorcycle, I just need to find it. Here it is. Their Harley Davidson. And then it's the artillery, the ordinary artillery. Here it is. We send our artillery against it. And we have all the other artillery pieces. We can just attack anyone because the United States have the one and the same. They have three of the same. So here are the other two. And the Jeep, of course, the officer will face their officer. And now it's just the planes left. The Messerschmitt will fight their Corsairs. Heavy bomber will fight their heavy bomber. And the Stuka will face their anti-air unit, wherever it is. We have an anti-air platform somewhere. And this unit will take care of it. Here they are, the anti-air platform. So we are ready. Oh, I forgot to move the officers up. And the same with this artillery unit, that was good. Let's start. So it's too low, the sound. We will add some music. Already moving up. Planes are fighting. Hard to have an overview of the situation when everyone is everywhere at the same time. The United States have kind of outdated riflemen. Might not be very accurate, but they had very good rifles against the Japanese. They had like assault rifles and stuff, and their ordinary rifles were better than World War I believe. Just look at the car. Planes fighting planes. I love the animation. Big Wax did a great job on them. With the planes and they crash and everything. The sound too. the SS unit. Movement there, right? And artillery. That's right. Alright. Doesn't look too good. I have lost all my planes. They still have a Corsair. I think maybe we are still in the lead. They've killed 51%, 52, they've killed 18, but they've taken out all our planes. So they have air superiority. I like these units too, they look kind of cool for 4 units. But especially the planes and tanks look great in this. Also there are native voices, which is kind of cool as well. Grenadiers throwing grenades. Hope they can take out these guys. That was good. We have lots of infantry here. Hammer in order to tap that unit. And this one can be tapped by that. Probably can't move. Can. Just didn't if you click attack. I need to move it closer manually. Seems they are otherwise not moving when they attack. That might need to be changed. So they don't just sit in the same location the entire battle. Cool that they are moving the turrets as well. Battle has been evened out. Let's just do this, I'm tired. And hope for the best. It's hard to see where anyone is when there's a lot of trees. Smaller cancer run. Infantry breach clear anti-air. Forward, guys. Crush those allies. Now let's see. The suckiest artillery piece. Alright, the more traditional artillery. Here I have the tiger ones. Even that one is stuck. Some planes are still around here. Terrorizing our infantry. They won the air battle as well. The SS unit is broken. So we can lose because of the planes. They are bombers. But those planes aren't bombers, so they have kind of weak prototypes, even though they look like bombs. Oh, they took out this hammer. Tanks here.
Unsere Männer
Their
haben
best
den feindlichen General erschlagen.
This was an easy setting as well. It's hard to adjust to the new setting with planes and everything. Have an overview of the situation. The rest is moving underground. Seems planes are better than tanks, which they should be. They may win this because of the planes. Too bad. Tanks might not be able to do much about it. I don't think they can shoot them. Doesn't look good. I think we have lost this. Just a matter of time for that tank to be destroyed. That's the result when you lose the air battle. That anti-air gun is pretty strong. It's better to have one anti-air gun than to have an additional plane. The US is the only faction with anti-air guns currently, or anti-air artillery platform, to be more correct. We'll fight another battle where the AI is fighting instead and see if it turns out better. I'm not too pleased with this one, but I don't really like all the trees. Sure, it's the Ardennes, it's historically accurate, but I'd rather have an open field so I can see everything. We will do that next time, I think. These artillery batteries are very, very strong.
Diese Niederlage hinterlässt einen bitteren
And there we
Nachgeschmack
lost.
im Munde aller Krieger des Reiches.
So, our army under Captain Herman, men deployed 629, kills 467, and men remaining 75. They had 621, so they were slightly lesser in number. They killed 517, so they only killed about 40 or 50 more than men remaining 210, so alright. Let's retreat our border guard. Let's fast forward. Slightly. Planes are moving here. Love how they move and attack. I get this. Back at the tanks here. German tanks moving forward.
Unsere Männer fliehen von der Schlacht. Sammelt sie wieder. Ehe der
Planes
Sieg
are
mit dem Wind
flying
davonfliegt.
around, fighting each other. American planes there. Mouse tanks moving forward there. American infantry there.
Ein Feind des Reiches liegt tot zu unseren Füßen.
Really good looking battlefield. Feels really like World War II in Rome. Rome Total War actually has a better AI than Medieval 2 as well, so it's more of a challenge fighting here. However, the graphics are obviously better in Medieval 2, and there are more possibilities for certain things like unique music for every fact, and it's not possible in Rome. You can only have unique music per culture in Rome. So that sucks. If it were up to me, I would use real music for the Germans and others, but Dagovax didn't want to use real music because they could, if we use real Nazi marching songs and Japanese marching songs, etc., they could probably hurt somebody's feelings, so they didn't want to use the real march music. Otherwise, that was my to do that, because I wouldn't have any problem with playing as the Imperial Japan or even Nazi Germany and having real music, but still this music is pretty good too. I believe he is using music from some World War II game, so it's still fitting. The battle is almost over. It's hard to have an overview of the situation. 29% of our troops killed,
Bei
58%
Gott!
of the enemy.
Unser verbündeter General wurde erschlagen. Brecht ihn!
So it seems they lost the fight in the air this time. We have superiority in planes, they had on platforms, so I thought they would succeed better. Here is the platform. It was owned by the tanks, probably. It's not dead yet. And the air platform. Yeah, it was taken
Seht, wie
out.
unser feiger Feind rennt! Zeit, den Angriff voranzutreiben!
Continue battle. This battlefield doesn't feel like in the antique if the game is set originally. Look at this. The fighters will probably get better projectiles later. They had a really good one, but it would sit D unfortunately, otherwise it was better suited for a fighter. Now they have smaller bombs, which is not what they should use, but it worked, so... Since Germany won too easy this time. However, I fought another battle where they lost the air battle, and then they lost in the end because the planes can do a great deal of damage. Tanks can't take down planes, and infantry can't do it either. So only artillery and anti-air.
Der Sieg ist unser! Lasst uns die Toten begraben und weiter geht es!
Captain Gunter, 25 men, and Captain Reinhold, 573 men. We killed one, we removed that unit, so 573 men, Captain Reinhold. We killed 525, and the men remaining 388. Captain Gareth, the United States, had 621 men, killed 179 only, and have 71 left, so that was really a failure for them. Let's save our replay. Just because. Alright.